To believe the hand-wringing social media posts I scroll past every day, this is the worst presidential election in history. We're told our founding fathers must be rolling in their graves at the lack of political decorum. Whatever other cultural decay we've experienced, the bipartisan propensity for political hyperbole and historical revisionism seems healthy enough. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan with a reflection on life and liberty. I cringe every time a well-intentioned friend makes references to the decline in the tone of our elections, the devolution of campaign rhetoric. It's one thing to remember the past fondly, it's something else to romanticize it irrationally. Let's first consider the views of the Founding Fathers. In 1798, it was the father of the country, the man who in our modern mythology eschewed partisan politics, George Washington himself. He said it would be easier to rub a black rock into white, quote, as to change the principles of a professed Democrat, that he will leave nothing unattempted to overthrow the government of this country, unquote. Ouch. 2 years later, the Founding Fathers were still running the show. The presidential election of 1800 featured the incumbent John Adams being challenged by Thomas Jefferson. The campaign was marked by vicious slander and bitter attacks. Adams' people derided Jefferson as a dangerous atheist, while the Jefferson camp said Adams was a hermaphrodite. If you don't know what that is, trust me, it's not nice. And things didn't get better. I'll skip past the sordid 1828 attacks on Andrew Jackson's beloved wife and move to the nation's centennial celebrations in 1876. Democrats falsely campaigned that year on the claim Republican Rutherford B. Hayes had shot his mother while drunk. In 1884, Grover Cleveland was called a lecherous beast and a moral leper by Republicans, owing to the fact that he'd fathered a child out of wedlock. And let's not forget the high watermark of political decorum, the 1920 presidential race in which Democrats urged Americans to vote against Warren Harding because he had black ancestors. None of this is to excuse the current election cycle, only to suggest we might do well to consider the problem isn't the devolution of campaigning, but the corruption of the human heart. We justify dehumanizing our opponents as the necessary cost of getting our good candidate elected. When we think of an election as the be-all and end-all of our civilization and life, it tends to warp our view of everything around us. We do well to consider the words of the author of Hebrews, quote, "Let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God." Yes, the tone of elections could be improved, but they are, like late-night social media binges, merely a reflection of our collective heart. Rather than hoping for a return to a past that never existed, our current elections and the future of our republic would benefit from more of us fixing our eyes on the steady goal of God's standard. The Reflections podcast is presented by Texas Scorecard. If you like today's message, be sure to rate it, leave a review, and encourage your friends to listen. Today's edition was produced by Nick Shepard. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan. Thanks for listening.